Most players prefer to attack than defend. Attacking may be fun, but learning how to defend against attacks not only saves you from defeat, good defense can also win many games by refuting an unsound attack. When defending, remember that chess is a game of many opportunities. There are always chances to save even the most desperate-looking positions, if you keep a positive attitude and look for these opportunities. In this position, Black is in serious trouble. Although Black's pawn is one move away from promoting, notice that Black's king is trapped on the back rank. With White to move, almost any rook move threatening to deliver checkmate on the back rank, such as rook d3, c3, or b3, are all completely winning. As White thinks all of these rook moves are the same, White plays rook a3. White expects Black to resign as checkmate looks unavoidable on the next turn. Black could promote the pawn on h1, but it's too little too late after rook a8 checkmate, because Black's rook on g2 prevents the new queen from capturing the rook on a8. What if Black's rook wasn't on the long diagonal? By keeping a positive attitude, Black found the incredible resource rook takes g6 check. Black sacrifices the rook, with check, to clear the long diagonal. However White decides to capture the rook, either with the king or f takes g6, Black saves the game with h1 equals queen, preventing checkmate on the next move. Black not only has saved the game, but now has a winning position, although it will require good technique to win the game. Let's take a look at another example of defending against attacks. In this position, Black is playing a much higher rated opponent, and Black's knight that was on f6 just got pushed back by the e5 pawn. Now that there isn't a knight on f6, the only guard of the h7 square is Black's king. White unleashes a bishop sacrifice known as the Greek gift with bishop takes h7 check. Black assumed the much higher rated player had everything calculated before sacrificing the bishop and played king h8. White was able to win the game without any trouble. When defending, it is important to always respect your opponent, but do not blindly trust that their attack must be good. Make sure to always check the most active defense. It looks scary to capture the bishop with king takes h7, as White has a powerful looking attack with knight g5 check. When after king g8 and queen h5, it looks like Black cannot stop checkmate on h7 without sacrificing the queen. Notice that knight f6 simply loses a piece to e takes f6 when White is still threatening checkmate. Can you find the saving move that both players overlooked? If you found the resourceful queen d3, great job! Black's queen guards the h7 square. White's attack is refuted, and Black is simply up a bishop for a pawn. Let's take a look at another position. So far, we have looked at positions where the defense had an opportunity to take advantage of a flaw in the opponent's attack. In this position, White's pieces are very active and can work together very well to attack the weak Black king. When defending, your best chance to survive is often finding an active defense or counterattack. In this position, Black could try to ignore White's pressure on the king side and play b3, pushing Black's main strength in the position, the advanced pawns on the queen side. Unfortunately for Black, after rook h8 check, king f7, and rook d7 check, Black's king is in serious trouble. If Black tries to hide on the back rank with king e8, attacking the rook on d7, can you see a forced checkmate in 2 for White? White can take advantage of the pinned bishop on f8 and play rook e7 check, forcing king d8, and rook takes f8, checkmate. After rook d7 check, Black is forced to play king f6. When knight takes f8, threatens knight h7, checkmate. Black's king is too weak for Black's queenside attack to succeed, so after checking Black's most active idea, Black needs to respect White's attack. Sometimes the best way to defend is by sacrificing material to remove some pressure from your opponent's attack. Black's best chance is to sacrifice the rook for the knight, known as an exchange sacrifice, with rook takes g6 check. After f takes g6, by giving up a little material, white no longer has such a powerful attack. Now black should remain as active as possible by playing b3. When you are on the defense, you want to create as many problems for your opponent as possible. The more difficult choices your opponent has to make, the better your chances of defense. If white doesn't take the pawn, black can play b2, when the advanced pawn will always have to be kept under watch, giving black good defensive chances. But if white does capture the pawn with c takes b3, black creates more problems for white with c2. Black is now ready to play bishop a3 and support the passed pawn. So after rook a1, black activates the passive bishop with bishop b4, threatening bishop d2. After combining careful defense with active counterplay, black's passive position has come to life and is doing well. Now that you've learned the importance of staying alert and defending as actively as possible, let's see if you can defend the following positions. Can you think of a chess move that can help you unleash an Can you think of a chess move that can help you unleash an incredible attack or help you defend a difficult position just as easily? The exchange sacrifice can do exactly these things, making it an excellent weapon for attack and defense. An exchange sacrifice is when you sacrifice a rook for a minor piece. In this position, white has just played g4. Assuming that the knight must move back to f6, its only safe square. Notice that black has the two bishops, the rook on c4, and the queen on a5, all putting pressure on white's castled king. White's knight on c3 is keeping the position together. So one thing to consider is an exchange sacrifice. If black sacrifices the exchange immediately with rook takes c3, removing the guard and threatening queen a2 check, white can simply play knight takes c3. And after bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, white captures with the queen, allowing the king an important escape square on d2. After queen takes a2 check, king c1. Black's exchange sacrifice was not successful. Will overwhelm white's defenses. In the game, white played knight takes g3. White's knight on c3 has lost its key defender, the other knight, so black destroys white's defenses with the exchange sacrifice, rook takes c3. This is the easiest type of exchange sacrifice to play. White cannot accept the sacrifice because after b takes c3, black will deliver checkmate after queen takes a2 check, followed by queen a1, checkmate. Black has already regained the sacrifice material and has an overwhelming attack. Black won the game quickly. Let's take a look at another example of the exchange sacrifice. In this position, Grandmaster Jan Timman just played f6, attacking white's knight. Grandmaster Ulf Andersson, playing the white pieces, ignores this threat and unleashes a powerful positional exchange sacrifice with rook takes b5. After the captures bishop takes b5, rook takes b5, f takes e5, and rook takes a5, let's take a look at this position. White sacrificed a rook for a knight and a pawn. Why would white do this? White does not have a clear attack against the king, so we call this sacrifice a positional exchange sacrifice. Notice that white has a passed pawn on c5, two powerful bishops pointing toward the queen side, and white is already threatening to take another pawn with rook takes a7. Black, on the other hand, has all of his pieces on the back rank and is very passive. White has an overwhelming positional advantage. After rook c7, guarding the weak a7 pawn, Anderson played c6, grabbing more space and preparing to play bishop takes a7 on the next move, creating another passed pawn on the a-file. White's pieces are working very well together, and black's rooks will remain passive. White's positional advantage led to victory in the endgame. Let's take a look at one more example together. Exchange sacrifices are not always played to attack your opponent. Grandmaster and future world champion Mikhail Botvinnik has found himself in trouble with the black pieces. Black has a weak pawn structure, and white has a simple plan of winning the c5 pawn with moves like queen f2 and knight a4. After losing that pawn, black would be down material and also would not have any active play. Botvinnik used the exchange sacrifice to try and hold his position together by playing the surprising rook d4. Black offers an exchange sacrifice to fix his doubled pawns on the c-file and keep the position closed. If white accepts the exchange sacrifice right away with bishop takes d4, c takes d4, after knight a4, black would use the same plan as in the game with c5. Let's see what happened in the game to understand why this exchange sacrifice was black's best chance. In the game, white played knight e2. Since black's bishop on a6 is poorly placed, Botvinnik places the bishop on a better diagonal with bishop c8. After knight takes d4, c takes d4, black has sacrificed the rook for a knight, but has undoubled his pawns, and black's newly created passed pawn on d4 blocks the only file that was open, the d file. This will make it difficult for white to find open lines to make the most out of the two rooks. In this position, white should have kept the advantage by playing bishop d2, so white could later plan to open up the queen side for the rooks by playing a3 and b4. White played bishop f2, and after c5, Botvinnik has a very strong pawn center and makes it very difficult for white to open up lines on the queen side for his rooks. If white can't activate the rooks, then white's small material advantage isn't that important. Black's defensive exchange sacrifice kept the position closed and forced white to make difficult decisions. Not only did Botvinnik defend this position, he later attacked on the king side and was able to win the game. Are you ready to unleash the powerful exchange sacrifice? Let's see. When attacking, our pieces need to combine their forces and work together to bring home the victory. Sometimes, our pieces can get in the way of each other during an attack. When this happens, the attacker needs to open key attacking lines, known as a clearance sacrifice. In this position, Grandmaster Mikhail Tal has sacrificed a rook. White's rook and bishop do not look very safe in front of the black king. Notice if the bishop wasn't on g7, White could deliver checkmate with queen takes h7. Grandmaster Tal unleashes an incredible clearance sacrifice with the move bishop h8. White opens up the 7th rank, threatening queen takes h7 checkmate, so black cannot take the bishop. After king takes f7, can you find a forced checkmate in 2 moves? If you found queen takes f6 check, great job. The game ends after king g8. Queen g7, checkmate. Let's take a look at another example of the clearance sacrifice. In this position, Grandmaster Richard Reddy has the white pieces. The material is even, but White's pieces are much more active than Black's. Reddy played bishop f7 check, forcing Black's king into the corner with king h8. Black's king is now stuck on the back rank, and Reddy now plays a clearance tactic that opens up the power of the queen and rook on the f-file. Can you find the move? Reddy played the clever move bishop e8. The bishop clears the f-file for attack, and also interferes with the defense of the black bishop on the back rank. In the game, Reddy's opponent resigned. If black captures the bishop with rook takes e8, White has the winning queen sacrifice, queen takes f8 check. And after rook takes f8, rook takes f8, checkmate. After bishop e8, if black tries bishop takes c5 check, White wins the bishop after queen takes c5. Notice that black cannot capture White's bishop because queen f8 is still checkmate. Let's take a look at one more example together. So far, we have only focused on line clearance, such as opening up a rank or a file. Another important clearance tactic is known as square clearance. In this position, black makes a serious blunder by playing knight h5. Black attacks the bishop on g3, but now that the knight isn't on g7, do you notice that black's queen and king are lined up on the same diagonal? If only White could move the bishop to the e5 square, black's queen would be pinned to the king. Can you find the winning square clearance idea for White? That's right, White can play rook takes h5, winning the knight and clearing the e5 square for the bishop, an unstoppable threat. Now it's your turn to practice winning games with the clearance sacrifice.